Hey everyone, and welcome. So, if you're in business or finance, you've definitely heard the terms accounting and auditing thrown around. A lot of people think they're pretty much the same thing, but are they? Nope, not at all. And honestly, getting this difference straight is one of the most fundamental things you need to know. So, let's jump right in and clear this up for good. And a huge welcome to the Audit Guidebook. If you're a student, think of this channel as your secret weapon for breaking down all those tricky topics into something simple and clear, so you can absolutely ace your exams. Today, we are tackling one of the biggest points of confusion out there. So, what's the real story here? Is one the creator and the other the critic? Is one the author writing a book and the other the editor who comes in to check all the facts? Well, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. And by the end of this explainer, that analogy is going to make perfect sense. Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll dive into that author versus editor idea to really define the roles. Then, we'll look at their purpose and what they actually create. We'll talk about timing and who's on the team. And then, super important, why this difference actually matters. And of course, we'll wrap up with the key takeaways for you. Right, let's get into it. The absolute best way to get your head around this is to think about writing a book. First, you need an author to create the story from nothing, right? And then you need an editor to make sure that story is accurate and well told. That's the perfect way to think about accounting and auditing. So first up, you've got your author. That's the accountant. You see, accounting is all about creation. They're in the trenches every single day, recording every transaction, classifying it, and putting it all together to build the company's financial story, right from the ground up. They're literally writing the book day by day. And then in comes the editor. This is your auditor. Now, once that book, the financial statements, is written, the auditor shows up. Their job isn't to write anything new. It's to go through that story with a fine-tooth comb, check the facts, verify the numbers, and make sure the whole thing is reliable. And this is where you really see the difference in their day-to-day work, right? The accountant's world is about creation and preparation. They're building something. But the auditor's world is all about verification and evaluation. They're checking something that's already been built. One is constructive, the other is investigative. And boom, here it is. This just nails the entire concept. If you only remember one thing from this section, make it this quote. The accountant is the author. The auditor is the editor who fact-checks it. Simple, memorable, and 100% correct. Okay, so we know who they are, but what are they actually trying to do? What's the end goal for an accountant compared to an auditor? And what do they actually produce at the end of the day? Let's dig into that. Their objectives are completely different. An accountant's main goal is just to present the financial information clearly so people can use it to make decisions. But an auditor's goal? It's to provide trust. They give an independent, professional opinion on whether that information is fair and true. And, this leads to totally different final products. Accounting gives you the actual story, the balance sheet, the income statement. Auditing, on the other hand, produces one single powerful document, the audit report. You can think of it as the book review that tells everyone whether or not they should trust the story. All right, get your pens out because this is a perfect one for your notes. Here's a super easy way to remember it. Accounting makes the records. Auditing marks the records. Simple as that. Okay, let's get down to the nuts and bolts. When does this all happen? And who are the people actually doing the work? The differences here are really, really important, especially when we talk about independence. So think about the timeline. Accounting, man, that's a marathon, not a sprint. It's happening constantly, every single day of the year. But auditing is different. It happens in periods, usually after the year is over. It has to be this way. You can't edit the book until the author is done writing it. Now, who does the work? This right here, this is a huge deal. Accounting is done by people inside the company. They're employees, part of the team. But auditing absolutely must be done by independent external auditors. They have to be outsiders. Why? To make sure their opinion is totally unbiased. That independence is the bedrock of the entire profession. And here's another great punchline to lock this in your memory. Think of a construction site. The accountants are the ones who build the entire thing, piece by piece. The auditors are the independent inspectors who show up afterward to check that it was built right and is safe to use. So we know the differences, but so what? Why does this distinction matter so much in the real world and, let's be honest, for your exams? Understanding the why is what makes it all click. It all boils down to the lens they're looking through. An accountant, I focused on measuring and reporting what happened, just the facts. But an auditor is looking through a totally different lens. They're zeroed in on accuracy, on compliance with the rules, and on the overall reliability of the financial picture. The law also treats them differently, and this is a key point. Basically, every business has to do some form of accounting. But a full-blown audit? That's usually only legally required for big, publicly traded companies. And the reason is simple. Thousands or even millions of people rely on those financial statements to invest their money, and the audit gives them the confidence to do that. All right, we have covered a ton of ground, so let's pull everything together into one simple, powerful summary. Think of this next part as your ultimate cheat sheet to glance at right before you walk into that exam hall. Let's just run through it one last time. The meaning: accounting is all about recording and reporting. Auditing is about examining and verifying. The objective: accounting is there to provide information. Auditing is there to express an opinion on it. And the output: accounting creates the financial statements. Auditing produces that all-important audit report. That's the core of it right there. And that brings us right back to our big question. When you look at a set of financial numbers, which hat are you wearing? Are you thinking about how to create the story? Or are you thinking about how to check it, to verify it? Knowing if you're the author or the editor is absolutely key. And that is a wrap. Our complete breakdown of accounting versus auditing. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope this helped clear things up. Remember, our whole goal here at the Audit Guidebook is to give you that clarity you need to walk into your exams feeling totally confident. Hey, if you found this helpful, you're going to love the other explainers on our channel. We have a bunch of them, all designed to help you master your studies. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next one. Keep up the great work, and we'll see you in the next explainer.